working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Nea Mangawang, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, Vietnam says recent activity by China's strategic bombers in the South China Sea's Paracel Islands seriously violated their sovereignty over the disputed territory. Hundreds of Indonesians take to the street of Jakarta to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the fall of dictator Suharto. And later, our EBC Hawaii correspondent Alfred Acenas will report on a town hall meeting which invited Filipino Americans, overseas Filipino workers, and other Hawaii residents. Vietnam says recent activity by China's strategic bombers in the South China Sea's Paracel Islands seriously violated their sovereignty over the disputed territory. In a statement released on Monday, Vietnam's foreign ministry said the flight's increased tensions caused regional instabilities and are not good for maintaining a peaceful, stable, and cooperative environment in the East Sea. China's Air Force said bombers such as the H-6K had landed and taken off from islands and reefs in the South China Sea as part of training exercises last week. Now, Vietnam demands that China stop these activities, cease militarization of the area, and strictly respect Vietnam's sovereignty over the Hoang Sa Islands, the Vietnamese name to the Paracels. The ministry said the presence of the bombers in the area has an adverse impact on ongoing negotiations between China and the ASEAN on a code of conduct in the South China Sea. Vietnam and China have long been embroiled in maritime disputes in the South China Sea. The Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan also have claims to parts of the potentially energy-rich maritime territory. In Beijing, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lu Kang urged other countries not to overinterpret what he called a routine military patrol. This as China rejected concerns that the deployment had raised tensions in a region home to vital global shipping routes. Lu said moving the bombers into the area was part of the normal training for the Chinese military. He then hit back at the United States, saying that the U.S. sending its own warships and planes to the region poses a danger to other countries. Friday's takeoff and landing drills took place on Woody Island, according to Washington think tank, the Center for Strategic and International Studies. The island is home to China's largest base in the Paracel Islands, which are also claimed by Vietnam and Taiwan. Meanwhile, the Philippine military remains quiet on the recent developments in the South China Sea, but has assured the public that it will not abandon its mandate. Armed Forces of the Philippines spokesperson Colonel Edgardo Arevalo said they have recently conducted air and naval patrols in the disputed seas. He, however, declined to reveal their findings, saying there are matters of national security that they cannot reveal because they are necessarily have to be kept in confidence so as not to violate operational security. He said that they are now drafting a report which will be forwarded to the higher headquarters and authorities at the national level. The AFP also refused to comment on China's steady buildup in the South China Sea, saying that only the Department of Foreign Affairs and the Department of National Defense could comment on the issue. To other news, Vietnam's rubber stamp parliament opened its summer session on Monday with a review of socio-economic progress for 2017 and the first 4 months of 2018. Lawmakers are set to review the anti-corruption law and pass a cybersecurity bill that could toughen online policing, including against dissidents. At the opening session, Deputy Prime Minister Trang Ho Bin said the GDP growth target for 2018 is more than 6.7%, a slight dip from the 2017 annual growth rate of 6.81%. He also commended the anti-corruption campaign for targeting big cases in the online gambling and banking sectors and within Petro-Vietnam or PVN, Vietnam's biggest oil firm that has come under fire for high-level graft. Several former PVN executives have been convicted, with a number currently under investigation as the government forges ahead with its anti-graft sweep. Pin said they need to simultaneously deploy solutions to prevent and fight corruption, waste, and misconduct. He also called for speeding up investigation, prosecution, and trials of serious economic and corruption cases. The 496-member National Assembly meets twice per year to discuss new legislation. The current session is expected to close on June 15.
Welcome to the garden. A world that recaptures the value of life, creating your moments, kindling your passion, worth reliving over and over. This is your world, your life, your garden.
Landmarks, Linggo, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi.
Welcome back. Hundreds of Indonesians take to the street of the capital Jakarta to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the fall of dictator Suharto. Monday marks the 20th anniversary of the former general's 1998 resignation at the height of the Asian economic crisis, as Indonesia was paralyzed by riots, food shortages, a plunging rupiah currency, and mass unemployment. Activists, musicians, journalists, and workers marched and staged a rally in front of the presidential palace. They are demanding President Joko Widodo deal with unfinished reform agenda such as tackling corruption, resolving past human rights abuses, and upholding the rule of law. Meanwhile, in Thailand, scores of Thai police ringed a Bangkok university early Tuesday as protesters prepared to march to Government House to mark 4 years of junta rule, one of the largest acts of dissent since the military grabbed power. Disquiet with the junta is simmering in Thailand despite a ban on political gatherings since a coup toppled the elected government of Yingluck Shinawatra on May 22, 2014. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, who as army chief booted Yingluck's administration from power, has suggested elections will be held in February next year. But the timetable for a return to democracy has frequently slipped, and patience with his junta is wearing thin among many sections of Thai society, including some of his former supporters. Around 200 protesters camped out overnight at Thammasat University, some keeping cool with fans decorated by cartoons of Prayut with a Pinocchio nose, a reference to the repeated broken promises on restoring democracy. The protesters, who appeared relaxed despite the police presence, were an apparent mix of student activists and former red shirts, one-time supporters of the Shinawatra clan.
First, we want people to realize this is the time to change. It should finish for the coup d'etat But however, the important is people. If people will not support the coup d'etat government, I think Thailand can change. We have the constitution by the military government. But however, election can be the starting, and at least people will have the freedom to expression. So this is why we want the government, we want the military government make the election for this year.
Thailand has been rocked by pro and anti-government street protests for more than a decade, some of them deadly. The military says it carried out the 2014 coup to end the cycle of violence.
รักษาความสงบแห่งชาติซึ่งประกอบด้วยกองทัพบกกองบัญชาการกองทัพไทยกองทัพเรือกองทัพอากาศและสำนักงานตำรวจแห่งชาติจึงมีความจำเป็นต้องเข้าควบคุมอำนาจในการปกครองประเทศตั้งแต่วันที่ 22 เดือนพฤษภาคม พุทธศักราช 2557 เวลา 16:30 เป็นต้นไปทั้งนี้ขอให้ประชาชนทุกคนอยู่ในความสงบดำเนินวิถีชีวิตและประกอบอาชีพต่อไปตามปกติ
In between, a junta-appointed National Assembly has signed off on a new constitution that ties future elected governments to a 20-year plan for the country. The charter also creates an appointed upper house and other checks to the power of future civilian governments in what analysts say is a brazen assault on the political base of the Shinawats. Meanwhile, our EBC Hawaii correspondent Alfred Acenas has a report on a town hall meeting which invited Filipino Americans, overseas Filipino workers, and other Hawaii residents. This took place at the Philippine Consulate General's office this past weekend. Take a look.
Key Philippine government officials hosted a town hall meeting here at the Philippine Consulate General in Honolulu.
It is indeed a privilege to be with you here today in a place I can only describe as paradise. Sa totoo lang, sa ganda ng lugar ninyo dito, parang gusto ko nang magpaiwan.
The men who graced the said occasion included Executive Secretary Salvador Mejidea, Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano, National Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, as well as Interior and Local Government Officer in Charge Eduardo Año. Diplomats accompanying them were Philippine Ambassador to the U.S. Jose Manuel Romualdez and the Permanent Representative to the UN Teodoro Locsin Jr. State Senator Donna Mercado Kim, herself a Filipino-American and currently running for U.S. Congress, took a few minutes from her busy schedule to warmly welcome the distinguished guests on behalf of the Aloha State.
As you know, we are the largest ethnic group in Hawaii, and if we can come together, not just as a community, but also to vote, because that will give the community and give the Filipinos the power to have a say in their government.
Each official then took turns in providing updates on their respective areas of responsibility, ranging from the recovery in Marawi to the rehabilitation of Boracay Island, from Veterans Affairs to immigration. Afterwards, there was a question and answer portion where the audience addressed topics such as the ongoing territorial disputes in the West Philippine Sea, even U.S. President Donald Trump's America First policy and its impact on Filipinos, just to name a few. Executive Secretary Mejildea seized an opportunity to extend his personal congratulations to the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ on its worldwide walk to stop poverty held last May 5 and 6. DFA Secretary Cayetano, meanwhile, expressed similar compliments.
The importance of events like this is the raising of consciousness to certain issues that some people think are unsolvable. But it takes effort, and it takes hope, and it takes people to move. So in that context, it was a very enlightening and inspirational activity because people saw around the world.
On the topic of the INC's 50th anniversary in Hawaii on July 27, 2018, Mijaldea and Cayetano rendered their congratulations.
We extend our sincerest congratulations to the 50th anniversary of Blessed Cristo in Hawaii.
The cabinet of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is not only congratulating but would like to share our pride and joy, not only the 50th anniversary of the organization here in Hawaii, but how it has grown across the world. And of course, we are very thankful that yung tagapamahala pangkabuuan sa buong mundo tinanggap yung task for being a special envoy for overseas Filipinos.
Upon conclusion, the attendees eagerly mingled with the visiting officials who assured them that the Philippine president would always look after the welfare of Filipinos overseas, including this part of the world.
Reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm Alfred Acenas for Eagle News. I'm one with 25.
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Nea Mangawang, always one with 25.